Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today for another exciting WordStream webinar, PPC Impossible, 1 person, 1 month, 1200% account improvement. My name's Chris and I'll be moderating today's presentation. If you'd like to take part in live blogging during today's webinar, you can include the hashtag WordStream in any of your social media channels. Also, we'll save some time at the end of the presentation for a short Q&A session, so please send along your questions throughout the webinar by using the GoToWebinar questions box. Now let's meet the presenters for today's webinar. We have with us Kristi Anderson and Margot DeCuna. Kristi is the VP of Marketing for Get Outfitted, which is a web service that rents ski and snowboard apparel and accessories directly to your doorstep. In her current role, she actively manages the company's Google AdWords account. Kristi is also a big-time skier, activist, and longtime Vail Valley resident. Welcome, Kristi, and thanks for joining us today. Margot is a customer success specialist at WordStream, which is a search marketing software company whose tools make PPC campaigns more organized and profitable. In her current role, she works on both premier PPC consulting and product support. Margot was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts, and will be running the Boston Marathon for the first time this year. So welcome, Margot, and thanks for joining us. For today's agenda, we'll give you a quick background overview of the $25,000 marketing makeover contest and introduce you to WordStream's free AdWords Performance Grader, which is a lead-in to our amazing PPC success story where Kristi will share what she learned about her AdWords account after running the AdWords Performance Grader, what goals she set for herself, and how she improved her AdWords account performance by 1,200% in only 30 days. Margot will then walk through 5 actionable optimization tactics to help improve PPC performance, and she will be sharing real strategies from efforts she's currently working with Kristi on. So to give you a quick background overview, WordStream teamed up with our friends over at Constant Contact towards the end of 2013 to create the $25,000 marketing makeover contest. The prize, one grand prize winner would win $25,000 of Google AdWords budget, 1 year of free email marketing software from Constant Contact, and 1 year of free PPC software from WordStream. To enter the contest, you first had to run WordStream's free AdWords Performance Grader, and what that is essentially a free instant PPC audit of your AdWords account. You simply and securely connect your AdWords account through Google, and in 60 seconds or less, WordStream will deliver a customized report that analyzes your account in 10 key paid search areas. Once you review your AdWords performance report, we asked 2 short questions. 1, what you learned about your account after running your report, and 2, what you plan on doing differently to make improvements in your account. After 30 days from the report run, WordStream auto-reran all of the contest entries' grader reports. We then selected the account with the highest overall improvement in the 30-day window as the contest winner. The winner and our special guest, who you'll hear from shortly, was Get Outfitted's Kristi Anderson. She had some pretty amazing performance metrics generated in the 30-day contest time, which included increasing her AdWords Performance Grader score from 15% to 83%. She increased impression-weighted average quality score by 50%. She improved her overall click-through rate from 0.26% to 6.32%, which was 24 times higher. Her account activity score climbed from 39% to 72%, and one of the most impressive stats was that her overall AdWords account improved 1,200% in the 30-day time frame. So you're probably asking, how is this even possible? Well, I'm going to hand things over to Kristi so she can share her amazing PPC success story with you today.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristi, and I work for Get Outfitted. I came across WordStream because I had already spent a lot of time and money in AdWords. It was taking up a lot of my time. Get Outfitted is a startup, so that means that a few of us are doing the work of many, and I really did not. I was just really spending way too much time handling AdWords and advertising and trying to get everything working. Also, I set up AdWords and everything was running and we had a small budget, so I was managing that, but I was logging in every day to AdWords and AdWords is laid out really nice, but it's kind of overwhelming, and it doesn't really give you any advice. You can call support and things like that, but I really wanted it to be a lot easier, so and also reduce the amount of time I was having to spend on it because I had other things to do. So that's how I came across WordStream. A couple of things that I wanted to point out was what my first report was kind of terrible, and I was really surprised by that because I had spent quite a bit of time on it, and I loved my first report. If you guys can see this, I mean it's not, these are not good grades, but I didn't know that we were wasting money, that we should have negative keywords. I didn't have any negative keywords in our account, so wasted spend was huge for us. So I used negative keywords, and also I realized that keywords for us, for example, because we rent, so if we use keywords like selling or buy, then that put us into a way different category and put us up against companies like backcountry.com and REI, and those guys spend like $50,000 a day on advertising, and we spend like $50 a day. So we just really couldn't stay in a category where we're going to have to go against that kind of a budget, and so we needed to really just be awesome at what we were doing. The other thing that changed for us was our click-through rate. That was really important. It's important to us because of investors. It's one of our, like, the first questions is how much does it cost to get your customers? How much are you spending to advertise for, as far as like paid spending goes, or paid advertising goes? How much are you spending, and then how much money are you making from your customers after that? And so our click-through rate was pretty terrible. I really needed to get that up because it is a question that investors ask about all the time. And also because I was able to go through this report and just change everything WordStream told me to change, we were able to find out that people were actually looking for us. So we needed to change our ads to say rent and not any words like buy or sell. Also, something that we changed later is in our second report, after I went through it and I added our negative keywords, and also our click-through rate went up. I did everything that WordStream told us to do. Also, you'll see from this one, free shipping, free returns, over to the next ad, we took that out because we found out through some of this that it was confusing our customers, that free shipping, they relate that to buying. Another thing was geo-targeting. So if I was running like a flower shop or a coffee shop, I would want to kind of limit that to pulling people in locally, but we needed to figure out what we were going to do, because it really almost could be worldwide. We've now served 26 states and 9 countries. That's where our customers have been, so I couldn't limit us to like just the state of Colorado, which can be really tricky for the budget. So let's see, what else did I want to, I just definitely didn't want to go in and just pay more. That seemed to be sort of the answer. It was also a little bit of the answer sometimes when I would talk to Google. So I did call support in my first few months running AdWords before I was working with WordStream, and their answer often was, well, we just haven't had enough time on this account, there's not enough data, maybe you could increase your budget, which are all totally fine answers, but that's not necessarily the solution that we needed. We needed to just be really, really good at, we just needed to nail this little part, and be really effective here, and kind of prove it that people were looking for us, which we were able to do. The other thing, kind of the final thing that I wanted to talk about is that the overall report in working with WordStream, it totally refocused me. I really would have spent way too much time working on this, and now I can log in kind of daily and just check a couple of metrics if somebody asks me a question about our account. But overall managing it, I use WordStream now, and I don't actually go into AdWords directly and change anything. I just use WordStream because it not only told me what I was doing right and what I'm doing wrong, but then it would give me like 3 or 4 bullet point reasons why something was working or something was not working. And actually just last week, Margot called me and said, I saw that in AdWords you created an ad I was trying to go after people who are also into camping and fishing and the outdoors, and she called and it was like, that's not really working for you at all, so I probably changed that ad, and I probably would have left it going a lot longer and wasted some money there had she not sort of caught that for me. So just even like the service level, not only like the report being laid out in chunks and just being able to really understand what's going on and what's needed and what we need to do better, but then Margot calling and sort of like catching me when I was in the middle of like, causing a little bit of trouble for myself and my account. So that's been really awesome. But I don't think that we would have had, actually I know for sure, we would not have had this type of improvement without WordStream, because I wouldn't have known like the top 5 places that I needed to really quickly make arrangements. So it was definitely WordStream that got me to this big of an increase. Otherwise it would have been kind of a long, slow struggle, I think, and wasted money when we don't have any, and wasted time when we also don't have any time to be messing around. So I think that that's it. I'll hand it back over.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristi. So let me hand things over to Margot now. So Margot is the customer success specialist here at WordStream, and she's going to go over 5 actionable optimization tactics to improve your PPC performance. And she's going to use a lot of examples from Kristi's account that's actually helping her continue optimize her account. So Margot, with that, let me hand things over to you.
Great, awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you, Kristi. I love hearing your success story. It makes me so happy to see how much you've improved. With AdWords, of course, there's always a lot you can do continuously, since Google's always changing. There's always ways that you can improve your account and get the most out of your budget, whether it's limited or really large. So I just wanted to go through 5 different tips that I've come up specifically for Kristi, but these can also be applied for probably a lot of your accounts as well. So definitely try to take these tips and apply them to your own Google AdWords or WordStream accounts. The first tip that I wanted to go through is building a stellar account structure. So the first thing that I identified when I was going through Kristi's account is that she does need a little bit more organization with her account structure. She has some really awesome tightly themed ad groups, which is great. For example, she has one around ski wear and another focus on women's ski jackets and so on. But the majority of her ad groups are actually under one campaign. With more organization and relevancy throughout, Kristi's actually going to be able to really focus in on different areas for business, as well as capture a lot more qualified traffic that is more likely to convert. So typically it's best to have a few campaigns that are focused around each product, location, or any other themes that are really important to your business objectives. One of the best ways to break this down for your campaigns and ad groups is by looking at the structure of your site. So what I did for Kristi is I looked at getoutfitted.com, which is a really great site. They have it set up in a really awesome way, and it became pretty clear to me a few different ways that we could break this down. So the first one is we could have a few different campaigns for maybe men's, women's, juniors, kids, and accessories, and then have ad groups for those different products in each campaign. But after kind of reviewing this strategy, I realized there would be a lot of overlap. So in Kristi's situation, I recommend breaking down her campaigns by products. So she offers ski clothes in general, more of a general kind of campaign that she's using right now. Then we could also have one focused on renting ski jackets, one focused on renting base layers, focus on renting pants, and then renting accessories. And then have specific ad groups under each campaign. So for example, let me just switch to the next slide. There you go, sorry about that. So for example, one of the campaigns could be for renting ski jackets, and then under that campaign we could have specific ad groups around renting women's ski jackets, renting male ski jackets, renting junior or kids ski jackets, and then just renting jackets in general, so for people who are not identifying that by a specific gender. Within each ad group, then Kristi will want to have really tightly themed keywords relating to that ad group. So Google suggests having no more than 30 keywords per ad group, and then 2 or 3 ads in each ad group. And you want to use the keywords that you're using, of course, in that ad group within the ad text. You want your keywords, ads, landing pages to all be extremely relevant to one another, since the searcher is going to be much more likely to express genuine interest. You always want to put yourself, in the shoes of the searcher and think, if I was searching for, renting women's ski jackets, you wouldn't want to be directed to an ad about renting kids jackets, because then you'd probably be like, well, this is not really exactly what I'm looking for. You'd be less likely to click, and then, Kristi could lose some business from that. So if someone, was searching to rent a ski jacket, like I said, but was directed to the wrong ad, they're likely not going to click. Also, if the ad displayed text, reading something different, it's just going to really, discourage the person from ever, visiting your business. But if the landing page is leading them to a place like you search for renting ski jackets, you see the ad renting ski jackets, but then you're directed to a page about renting ski boots, the visitor is going to bounce back and you're going to waste money in that click. So as you can see, relevancy is super important. All right, so now I want to go on to our next tip, which is focusing on high-performing keywords. So taking a look at Kristi's historical keyword performance, there are a few words that really stood out to me. For example, the keyword snow clothes rental on Broadmatch has a click-through rate of 7.43%, a quality score of 9, and has generated a whopping 15 conversions. That's really crazy, right? It's just one keyword, and it's really dominating Kristi's account. So, what does this tell me? I asked myself, and it's a few things. Maybe we want to create an entire ad group around that keyword, snow clothes rentals, and then this will allow us to really focus in on this all-star keyword and get even more conversions and business from it. And the new ad group, Kristi might want to have some variations of the keyword, as well as create some relevant ads that are super specific to that keyword. So for the headline, it could say something like rent snow clothes today or snow clothes rentals online. Typically, once I've identified a really awesome keyword, I like to use a strategy called tiered or stacked bidding. What this is it's bidding on the same keyword but with all 4 different match types. So, as you know, you don't want to have any duplicate keywords, but if you have the keyword set to different match types, Google is going to treat it as a totally separate keyword. And it's basically just going to kind of expand your presence for that keyword. The more restrictive you get with the match type, the more you'll want to bid, because the quality of the traffic is going to increase. So, for example, I might be bidding on snow clothes rental on exact phrase, modified broad, as well as broad. I'm going to bid, a little bit higher the more restrictive I get. So as you can see in this image here, you're going to bid, about $6 on exact compared to $5 on broad, and then kind of in between with those other match types. And why am I bidding the highest on exact, you might be wondering? The ROI, or return on investment, is typically much higher because you're aware of exactly what the searcher is looking for, as compared to if you have broad match, which is much more open to interpretation because it can include close variance. So with broad match, your volume is going to be a lot higher, but it might not be as qualified. So you don't want to limit your volume because that keyword's bringing in a lot of good volume, but you can get even more qualified with those more restricted match types. There are also several other keywords in Kristi's account that I identify that are high performing like this, like rent ski pants and rent ski jackets. So Kristi could really use a similar strategy on those keywords as well. And to move on to our next point, which is further build out negative keyword lists. So continuously monitoring and building out your negative keyword lists is extremely important, especially when using broader match types. So this is something Kristi really did a great job of identifying with her grader report, and she's doing an awesome job at now, because it's really easy to waste tons of spend if negatives are not set up properly, which is something I find really often with a lot of my clients. So since Kristi has a good amount of broad and modified broad keywords, it's really important to continuously be looking at some of the search queries that come in to make sure she's staying on top of her negative keywords list. It's kind of a continuous thing that you should be kind of incorporating into your workflow to make sure you're on top of, especially, like I said, if you're using broad match. And the best tool for Kristi to do this is a tool within our WordStream's PPC Advisor software. It's called QueryStream. It's actually one of my favorite tools within the software because it pulls actual searches that users are typing into Google to make Kristi's ads appear. The tool can be used to identify and set up single word or multiple word negatives, add keywords to Kristi's account, so positive keywords that are going to bring her in traffic. She might want to be bidding on those keywords. She can even create entirely new ad groups from the searches she's seeing in here. So there's a lot of flexibility within this tool. When I was looking through Kristi's account, I took a quick glance and I actually identified some more negatives that she might want to set up. One of the ones I saw you can see in this image was rental skis, and this was searched a good amount of times, even resulting in 5 clicks. This is a service that Get Outfit actually does not provide, so she's likely wasting a little bit of money, nothing crazy, but wasting a little bit of money on this keyword. So she might want to set this as a phrase match negative just to kind of save her budget on that keyword, since likely those clicks are not going to convert. As I go through the list, I can see lots of irrelevant searches like Waterville Valley ski rental shops, snowshoe rentals, snowboarding boot rentals, things of that nature. So there are other queries in here that Kristi might want to set up as negatives. And when setting up negatives, it's really important to understand how negative match types work. So typically I advise using broad match type for single word negatives, and then using phrase match for multiple words to ensure that negative word or phrase are being excluded every time it's searched for. So if I were to set rental skis as an exact match, for example, then Kristi's ads would only stop appearing, would still appear when someone searched for something like rental skis in Montana, or where can I rent skis, things like that. But with phrase match negative, that's going to exclude, with phrase match negative, this will exclude words before or after the negative phrase. QueryStream also gives Kristi the ability to set negatives up across her entire account on specific campaigns or on specific ad groups. So for instance, sometimes the keyword like snowboard boots, Kristi will want to set that up as a negative across the entire account because Get Outfitted does not offer that product. But for other keywords like rent women's ski pants appearing maybe in the men's ski pants ad group, she might only want to exclude that from that specific ad group, since she doesn't want to direct them to an irrelevant landing page. So Kristi may just want to set women or females as negative keywords in male-focused rental clothing groups. It's also important to make sure that negatives are not blocking terms that could be beneficial to your account. So make sure to review your negative keyword list that you already have set up to make sure you're not blocking any potential traffic. All right, so let's move on to the 4th point, which is pause keywords with poor performance. So how do I know if a keyword has poor performance? First off, make sure it's been running long enough to acquire substantial data to make this decision. Like, you need to give the keyword some time. So don't pause it after 7 days or even 30. You want to get some substantial data to make that decision. If a keyword has been running for a few weeks and you see that the data is just not great, rather than pausing it right away, there are a few things that you can do to get a better return on this keyword. And here are a few common scenarios that I see. Maybe the keyword's bids isn't high enough. So for high competitor keywords, you may want to be a lot higher on the search results page to get any traffic on these words. Take a look at the page number 1 CPC to see the minimum you need to pay to get on the first page of the search results. You can see this column when reviewing keywords in WordStream by adding it through the columns button in the Manage PPC tab. Instead of pausing these keywords, increase the bid to see what you can pull in. If your keyword's not appearing on the first page, people really don't go to the second page of search results. It's just really not common. So if you're not getting that top position, it's likely because you're not bidding high enough. Instead of pausing these keywords, increase the bid to see what you can pull in. In Kristi's ad group women's ski jackets, I noticed that she had about 12 keywords with bids set to only a penny for their max CPC. In this case, if Kristi ups the bid, she's likely going to gain a lot more traffic. If you're only bidding a penny, of course, you're probably not going to get much traffic off of those keywords. The next point I have here is that maybe the keyword has low search volume. So if the keyword is simply not acquiring much traffic, even though you're paying enough, the keyword may just be either too long-tailed or simply a phrase or a word that users are not searching for. In this case, I'd recommend pausing these keywords to just declutter your account. It's also important to pause keywords that are gaining a lot of impressions but very few or no clicks, as this is going to hurt your click-through rate and ultimately that's going to impact your quality score. Kristi paused the keyword ski, so she's actually been using this strategy already because she saw that it received 7,000 impressions but only 4 clicks, resulting in a 0.06 click-through rate, which is pretty awful. So that's a good example of when Kristi's been pretty good at using this strategy. Another thing is you want to take a look at the match type. So maybe the match type is too broad or maybe it's too restrictive. If the volume is really high but the click-through rate, conversions, etc. are super low on a broad match keyword, then pause that keyword and add it with a more restrictive match type. So for example, in Kristi's account, I noticed the keyword ski clothing on broad match has a really low click-through rate. So in this case, I'd want to pause this keyword and add it on phrase to increase the relevancy. If the keyword is on exact or phrase but not getting much traffic, try adding it as modified broad or broad to open it up to a larger volume. All right, now I'd like to move on to my last point, which is optimize ads and create new ad text. Ad optimization is super essential for optimizing your account and is, of course, the most crucial step in getting searches to your site. So if your ads aren't compelling and relevant to your keywords, searchers aren't going to click on them, resulting in less traffic to your site. You should, on a regular basis, be testing and tweaking your ad copy to improve the performance. It's really important to update ad text when promoting special offers. For example, if Get Outfitted decided to give an extra 50% off, this is something we'd want to make super clear in Kristi's ads. Kristi's ads also have a great historical performance. They've received several impressions and really high click-through rates, which is really awesome. So I really wanted to focus first on what Kristi's doing really well right now because she's doing an awesome job. The first thing is she does a great job with relevancy. So for example, in Kristi's ad group for rental clothes, she's capturing leads to come to the homepage of her website, and she does this by using keywords like snow clothes rental, rent ski apparel, rent ski clothes, and so on. Her keywords are really highly relevant to the ads that she's written, which definitely plays a role in her high click-through rate. Another thing that Kristi does is she uses ad variations. So what does this mean? In each ad group, I typically recommend running 2 ads for desktop, and if mobile is important to you, also run 2 ads for mobile at the same time. Why do you want to do this? You want to test to see which ones are performing better. And Kristi has done just that. She's been able to easily compare performance between her ads. Kristi saw, like she said, that free shipping was leading to some confusion, so she decided to tweak this ad. And after she did that, she saw a much higher click-through rate and performance on that ad. All right, so, and I'm going to go over to the next slide. As you can see in this image here, Kristi has Sitelinks enabled. This is something that's super awesome that you should be doing. What are Sitelinks? So they're these extensions that you can see in this image, the About Us, Women's, Men's, etc. They're basically an extension of Kristi's ad. That's giving it a lot more volume, and it's giving more opportunity for people to click on her page and visit her site. I recommend always setting these up. I've seen pretty much, throughout the board that people who have Sitelinks enabled, their accounts tend to get a lot better performance. And you can see, the Sitelink extensions she has enabled here. Her How It Works Sitelink extension, for example, has generated over 49,000 impressions, 2,432 clicks, and a click-through rate of 4.9%, which is super awesome. So you can see, these site links really have helped out with Kristi's traffic and performance here. These are really easy to enable through WordStream, and you can monitor them directly through WordStream as well. They also help with ad rank. So if you're competing against somebody who, say, has the same bids, same quality scores, you're pretty much on the same level across the board, but you have Sitelink extensions enabled, then Google is going to recognize that, and you're going to actually beat your competitor. You're going to rank higher, you're going to beat them in the auction, and then you're going to rank higher on the page. And that's at the same price. So definitely take advantage of Sitelink extensions. Also, Kristi's ad copy is simple, to the point, and clear, and includes a clear call to action. So she's saying, call to reserve your gear today. Every ad needs to have a clear call to action so the searchers know what to expect and are able to take action and make their decision before even clicking on your ad. Awesome. So there is still room for improvement when it comes to ad optimization. There's always room for improvement. So now I want to go through a few things that Kristi could actually do better. The first is that I would recommend that Kristi adds punctuation to the end of her line 1 description. What this does is that it actually takes Kristi's ad. Let's go over to the next slide. It actually takes Kristi's ad and extends the presence of the first line. So you can see here the before, you can see the ad, how it is, and then I added punctuation to the end of line 1, and I actually pulled that line 1 into the headline. This is something that Google does when you're placed at the top of the page, so you're not guaranteed to have it look like that every time, so don't be discouraged if it doesn't, but it does really help with click-through rate and extending the presence of your ad. So this is a simple way to substantially improve the performance of an ad. Kristi could also add a description line to her display URL. So, for example, right now she's displaying just www.getoutfitted.com in the display, but she could have this say www.getoutfitted.com/rent ski clothes. So think of the display URL as an opportunity to really extend the presence of your ad. I mean, you're limited by a very specific character limit with writing your ad text, so take advantage of all the characters that you get. All right, and another point is that even though Kristi's testing some ad variations, I'd recommend changing up the ad copy even more. So for example, currently she's using rent ski apparel in her headline, but some variations like ski clothing rentals or rent quality ski clothes, also experimenting with different call to actions like order online for doorstep delivery, rent online, for shipping delivery today, things like that. Simple fixes just to see what works and see what doesn't. It always helps to be continuously testing your ads to see if you can improve those results. All in all, Kristi's done such an awesome job in improving her AdWords account since completing the grader report and using WordStream's PPC Advisor. But as you can see in PPC, there's always room for improvements. Improvement can always be made to get better performance out of your account. But it's really comforting to see that there's room for growth and even more improvement over time. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to pass it back to Chris before we jump into Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you, Margot, and thank you, Kristi, for sharing your insights. We're going to hop right into Q&A here. A lot of great questions coming through, so thank you, everyone who sent your questions along. If you would like to go run your free AdWords performance grader, you can go to www.wordstream.com/Google-AdWords, and that's up on the screen now. So let's hop right into Q&A. So the first question I have here is actually for Kristi. So when you first ran your grader report and you saw that you had a 15% overall score, that's obviously a red flag there. But what stood out to you as the #1 thing that you needed to jump on right away when you saw your report and to get to work to make improvements?
Okay, that's a great question. So probably the biggest one was the click-through rate, because we are almost on a monthly basis, if not more often than that. I need to report in to our little small team and also our investors on our click-through rate. So if we're spending money, we need to show ROI immediately on that, and so getting our click-through rate was really important. So who are we going after? Also, click-through rate was sort of it kind of proved to us that people were looking for us. so that there are customers out there that are looking for our service. And if we could just figure out a way to say what they're looking for, then we didn't have to go find them out of nowhere. So click-through rate was really important. It's probably the #1 metric. And that was all about where I was targeting the keywords and then the keywords matching to an ad which would match a landing page. So like Margot had said, rent ski clothes couldn't land on like renting like the goggles because people would be confused and probably frustrated. So I think that's probably the first one, was getting our click-through rate up to something that was competitive.
Great. Thanks, Kristi. So the next question we have here is that, Kristi's story it's amazing how much improvement she did in a 30-day window. A lot of people are asking, does it depend on the business size? Kristi has is a startup, and the competition out there might not be as high as some other companies that they might have more competition. Is it possible for other companies to achieve this success? And I think, Margot, you could probably jump in here, but I really think it comes down to just knowing how your account's doing and what areas to really jump on and make improvements. I think that's the one-up that you have on your competition. So depending if you're a small business or if you're a larger company, just knowing what to do and what steps to take is already a one-up on your competition. And Margot, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with the points that you just made. To expand on that a little bit, there are some things you can do if you're in a really highly competitive industry. I have a lot of clients who have a ton of competition and they're just not getting the results they want. Like Chris said, take a look at your metrics and see what's happening in there. You might want to take a look at your geo-targeting. So if you're targeting the whole U.S., you're competing against another huge company, you might want to get more specific if location is important to you. You might want to use some longer tail keywords. So for example, if you're, I don't know, a web development company that's a super competitive industry, you might want to focus on a specific offering that's a little bit different than what your competitors offer. So kind of using your unique selling points to your benefit and like kind of going in on that niche rather than competing with those expensive keywords. Another common example I see is with lawyers and attorneys. Those keywords can get super expensive. So sometimes coming up with some longer-tailed, more niche keywords to target can be helpful in keeping that spend down and avoiding that high competition. So really knowing your audience, knowing where they're coming from. There's things you can look at like which days of the week are important to you. Expanding to maybe just instead of just the advertising on Google, you could expand to the search network as well. So there's a lot of different strategies you can use, but like Chris said, knowledge really is power. So dig in a little bit deeper and do that research and kind of figure out where you can refocus.
Awesome. Thanks, Margot. Another question here is, and this was for you, Margot, is can you go into a little more detail on setting up tiered ad groups for match types?
Sure. So your keyword ad groups are not going to be focused on one match type. You typically are going to have a mix of match types within each ad group. If you're just starting out building your account from scratch, I usually like to start out on broad just to pull in that high volume. With that, you need to be really careful. So broad is going to bring you in the most traffic, but it's going to include close variants. So if you're targeting a keyword like rent ski clothes, you could get a lot of other information in there, like rental boots, things that aren't that exact keyword phrase that you're looking for. So if you're worried about that, you might want to use a more restrictive keyword match type like modified broader phrase. Understanding keyword match types is really essential before setting up your account, and there's tons of great content through the WordStream blog and on the site that I definitely recommend checking out. But definitely don't limit your account to one match type. If you do this, you're probably not really going to see what results you could get out of the other match types. So I definitely recommend using a strategy where you're experimenting with different match types is probably the way to go.
Awesome. We just had a question here is, so if somebody's doing advertising on Bing, is the WordStream software, do they support that?
Yes, so WordStream, it does have an integration with Bing, which is really awesome. We allow for you to make changes to Bing simultaneously, which is definitely a huge benefit of the software. And it's really easy to kind of compare your account performance between AdWords and Bing. So yes, that's something that WordStream does support.
Great. So I think that's all the time we have for questions today. Someone just a couple people are asking if there are any special offers or deals for attendees today. The only offer we have is for the AdWords Performance Grader, but feel free to visit wordstream.com and get yourself in a free trial of the software. You're free to try it for 7 days. So run your AdWords report, go get in a free trial, and see if the software is right for you. And I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today. Again, if you want to make your own success story, run that free AdWords Performance Grader, see where you can make improvements, and get your PPC account on the right path today. I'd just like to thank Kristi for joining us. Thank you for sharing your insights and your account improvement, and thank you, Margot. And I hope everyone has a great day today. Thanks again.